Hello and welcome to the next episode of Business Accelerators. I'm Jackson Hewitt, editor of Business Spectator. Today we're looking at a physiotherapy business based in Coffs Coast. Coffs Coast Sports Physiotherapy. It's owned by Matt and Linda Becker, and there's effectively 6 employees in the business. Now, Stuart Lindsay from Pitcher Partners has been looking into this company for us and what he can do to help them. Quite a nice little business, isn't it? How's it going?
It is. It is a nice business. It's performing well. They're generating good revenue. One of the keys in these sorts of personal services businesses is utilisation of beds. We've got a business that does appear to be performing quite strongly.
Now, one of the things about these service businesses is that you can't scale up very easily. You have to add more people to add more clients, and that's quite a challenging process. So what's the best way when you have reached a capacity constraint, whether it's in the size of the building you're in or whether it's the amount of staff that you can afford to put on, when you think, okay, how do I get the extra cream out of the business?
Yeah, and you've raised a good point that personal services, the revenue you generate is linked to the number of staff that you have. And it's often hard for us to put an extra 0.1 of a person on or a 0.2. We sort of have to go a whole person. When we add that entire overhead, all of a sudden our revenue needs to increase dramatically to justify that cost. So what can they do? It is just getting greater utilisation of the existing beds that they have, perhaps looking at the hours that they're opening and saying, you know, are there other hours that we could open just to get some more people through the door at particular times of day or days of the week. But it is pretty much fine-tuning the model that they currently have to try and improve profitability.
Now, what's the best technique you can use to do that? Because that's quite a challenging skill to do that sort of utilisation, optimisation, calculation.
Look, it's really quite a basic formula. You know, if you have an employee here for this period of time, how many clients should they be able to treat within that time? And are they treating that number of clients? And if not, what is it that's taking up their time? And it may be administrative duties. It may be having to take notes manually, which is the case in this business, on each client. So are there things that we can do just to improve some of those back office functions and increase the amount of time that each of the professionals is able to spend on the tools, so to speak, hands-on with their clients?
So what have you recommended for this business in terms of managing that back office?
Well, this business is in good shape. They are currently looking at implementing an electronic customer database, so they can keep all of their files electronic rather than manual, as they have been, so that's going to save them a lot of time. They have been looking at the utilisation of the beds and making sure there's minimal downtime for their staff. So in that respect, they're doing the things that they need to be doing, and they'll see the results of those in a few months once they bed down those new processes.
Now, this is a regional business. It's based on the Coffs Coast. One of the things that they do a lot of is sponsor local sports clubs, and the owner, Matt, spends time down at the local rugby league team, the Marlins. There is a opportunity cost though with that, isn't there?
Absolutely. And look, for a business in a small community like Coffs Harbour, sponsoring local teams, local sporting teams, local community efforts is quite important to help generate word of mouth for the business. Yeah, you're right. Matt does spend his Saturdays on the sidelines at the rugby club. Look, it's a great community service, but he needs to recognise there's a cost for him in his time on that sideline. And perhaps if he spent his time in the business on a Saturday morning, how much more revenue could he generate in those hours than he does standing on the sidelines? So that's a question that Matt needs to ask himself and needs to make a decision. Either, yep, I recognise I'm losing money by being on the sidelines, but it's something I love to do, it's something I love to give back to the community, or actually I'm probably better off spending that time in the business. Perhaps I scrap both of them, spend some time with the family.
And they seem to be sort of one of the more successful practices in the area. Is there room for them to expand, or do you think that perhaps adding that extra Saturday workday would be the best way to test the appetite in the market?
I think initially adding this Saturday would be good. Again, we're talking personal services, things that you can't receive over the internet. So you physically have to go along there, and there's going to be a number of people who can't get to a practice during the week. So perhaps adding on a Saturday trading, you might find what sort of appetite you have in that market. It may even be, we don't stop at Saturday, we go to Sunday as well. But let's trial Saturday would be my recommendation, see what sort of customer uptake we get there, and then think about expanding.
So it is a nice business, turning over pretty good money and pretty well run. And I guess there's room for them to grow more, right? As the population gets older, more and more therapies can be added for that population looking for quality of life as they move on into another age.
So yeah, as the population ages, more people will be needing physiotherapy services, but there are other services as well, other medical services that people will need and that people will take up. And why not have a one-stop shop where you can go to get all of these services in one? So it may go beyond just a physiotherapy clinic, and today they do offer services such as myotherapy and a nutritionist. So adding broader services or therapies beyond just physio is a good way of not only servicing your market better, but of making your business the one-stop shop for all your medical needs.
And you can do some upselling there.
If there's an opportunity when you've got a client in getting some physio services and you see there's a desperate need for some other services that you offer, and that will help improve the person's life and their lifestyle, then absolutely go ahead and offer those services, because you're doing the right thing by the client.
Great stuff. Stuart, thanks very much.
Thank you.